Hey up, it's Steve from that old Yorkshire Geek, and I'm live on a Sunday afternoon. It's just afternoon here, 12:24 p.m. I know I said we're going to start at 12:30, but I'm early. Sue me. Right, so we've got some news articles to look at today. But first, let's have a bit of an intro. Right, I'm back. Clickety click. You can hear me mouse clicking. I don't know if you can or not. Anyway, let's get these news items up and let's have a look. I'm absolutely starving, by the way. I'm waiting for my son to crawl out of his pit so I can make a Sunday brunch, a lovely Sunday brunch. I've got it all ready. It's all waiting. Part of it's cooked, just to warm it up. But other parts I've to do, like the toast and stuff like that. But I'm waiting for him to get up. So I thought, well, I'll do this. And then hopefully by the time I finish this, he'll be up. And I can have something to eat because I'm starving. Right, let's get this news up. Right, first up, where have I put it? There it is. From IndieWire, as usual, links are all in the description. And don't forget, like and subscribe, share the videos, drop a comment, hit the notification bell if you're subscribed already. I'm also on Rumble and Odyssey. This will be tomorrow when I can download it from YouTube. Don't know why you've got to wait so long. Never mind. I'm also on Spotify and Amazon Music, podcasts and Google Podcasts. YouTube have added this thing, haven't they? A podcasts thing. You can upload a podcast. What's the difference between this and a podcast these days? I don't know. Is it just audio? I dare click on it to see what happens. But never mind. Anyway, what else? What else were I saying? And I'm also on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Links for all that are in the description, as well as are the links for my 2 books. I've got to plug them. Mercury Rapids, because I keep getting phone calls from people wanting my business, saying, the book has been forwarded by Amazon and we want to help you promote it if you pay us lots of money. And they're always asking, what do you do to publicise your book? And I always say, nothing. So now I can say, I publicise it on my YouTube channel. Not that I'm going to, pay them money to promote my book. I'm not paying them money. Bloody hell, I'm a Yorkshireman. Anyway, Mercury Rapids, light-hearted sci-fi action adventure, quite thick. But it's not got tiny writing. Oh, there you go. I'll show you an example page. There we go. Where are we? There we are. I'm covering it up with that, aren't I? There we go. No pictures, I'm afraid. And Silent Predator. That's a short novella. How many pages is that? I think it's less than 100 pages. I don't know, because this copy I've got here doesn't have page numbers on. Never mind. It's a horror novella about big cats roaming North Yorkshire. It's all a bit of fun on Amazon, Kindle and paperback. Right, John Boyega. It's obviously the job offers are drying up, it seems, but let's see what he says. John Boyega says he has become more comfortable with treatment of black Star Wars characters. Boyega says that after seeing some of the racial progress that the franchise has made, he's able to enjoy Star Wars shows as a viewer again. There he is. John Boyega has always been open about the fact that his role in the Star Wars sequel trilogy was a complicated experience for him. On one hand, the franchise elevated him to international stardom and paved the way for him to take on more interesting projects. But he has also made it clear that being one of the first major black actors in such a beloved series came with drawbacks. One of the first, not the first. The actor has often spoken out about what he felt was a lack of support from Disney when he dealt with racist harassment from fans, as well as his general dissatisfaction with his character having a smaller role than the film's marketing materials often suggested. Everybody in the public eye gets harassment from fans. It doesn't matter what colour you are. It doesn't matter what gender you are, of whatever gender you identify as. You're going to get harassment from fans. It's going to happen. Even if you're the most, quote, normal person in the world, there's still going to be somebody out there that doesn't like you and has a go at you. Anyway, it's so difficult to manoeuvre Boyega said in 2020, you get yourself involved in projects and you're not necessarily going to like everything. But what I would say to Disney is do not bring out a black character, market them to be much more important in the franchise than they are, and then have them pushed to the side. It's not good, I'll say it straight up, which is what they did with Finn. You know, the publicised that it was one of the main characters in The Force Awakens, the stormtrooper that defected from the First Order, and then just suddenly he was a janitor, a stormtrooper janitor. And then the other films, they were just shoved to one side, went on side quests, and it was, pointless and stupid. Anyway, now with the trilogy firmly behind him and a thriving film career, that doesn't seem tied to the franchise anymore, Boyega appears to be more introspective about the experience. In a new interview with The Times, Boyega explained how he has made peace with the franchise. For me, Star Wars has made the man, in a sense, he said. The experiences, the fun times, good times, ugly times, bad times. We get knocked down and we get up again. Sorry, it just reminded me of that. It makes you who you are as you navigate through the industry, and that has definitely been interesting. He went on to say that many of his narrative grievances regarding his character's relevance to the story were rectified by J.J. Abrams' conclusion to the trilogy, The Rise of Skywalker. He added that his satisfaction with the end of the story has made him more comfortable enjoying Disney's subsequent Star Wars projects as a fan. It was stupid. I feel like the arc that JJ tried to tie up, that's where I feel comfortable with the release of him, Boyega said of his character, and since then I've been able to enjoy, as a fan, The Mandalorian, Obi-Wan Kenobi. I'm enjoying the balance of all things. He's looking for work. He's keeping his options open. Or maybe Disney lawyers have been in touch, saying, don't say disparaging things about Star Wars. Or, well, you'll never work for us again. Remember, we own Marvel and Fox and all these other studios. So you'd never work for those either. So there you go. Maybe he's wanting to work, with J.J. Abrams again in wherever J.J. Abrams lands, probably at Amazon. So there you go. So he's more at peace. So anyway, good for him. Right, Star Trek Next Generation lead actor was Captain America way before Chris Evans. This is from the Digital Fix, which works now. Used to try looking at the Digital Fix and it was just adverts all over, covering up all the text. Even if I used an ad blocker, it still covered up the text. But they seem to have fixed it now, thank goodness. Star Trek The Next Generation and Picard Season 3 star performed as Captain America long before, that's the key word, performed, as Captain America long before Chris Evans and the MCU, and it's not too hard to imagine. He was perfect. One of the leading actors from the Star Trek The Next Generation cast was Captain America long before MCU movie star Chris Evans. From 2011 to 2019, Chris Evans was one of the main MCU characters as the super solid, unbelievable, Steve Rogers, should be a comma there. And in my opinion, he was the best Avenger. Not only the first Avenger, although that's, debatable, but his film was called The First Avenger. It was the best one, my favourite character he was. Anyway, alongside Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man, Evans' version of Captain America was the leader of the Avengers and helped to spearhead the superhero movie franchise. In fact, it's been quite hard for some fans to imagine anyone other than Chris Evans in the role, even with that old film, weren't they? Were about 1979. I can't remember who played Matt, somebody. I can't remember his name. Oh, it was Matt, somebody played Captain America in a cheesy film. There might have been two, but I can't remember. But they were fun. Anyway, it's been quite hard for some fans to imagine anyone other than Chris Evans in the role, even with the upcoming Captain America 4 release date and the Falcon and the Winter Solid TV series. Still, fans will undoubtedly adjust to Sam Wilson with the shield. Steve Rogers is Captain America. Not least because Anthony Mackie oozes confidence and gravitas in his new suit. You have to do better, Senator, and don't call them terrorists, even though they're blowing up things and killing innocent people. first episode of that were really good. Really enjoyed that, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Then you threw it all away. Anyway, but before Mackie, and before he couldn't even get a loan for his... He was an Avenger, for Christ's sake. He couldn't even get a loan for his family boat. Stupid. But before Mackie and before Evans, the role of Captain America was held by a leading Next Generation cast member, Jonathan Frakes. Dun, dun, dun. Frakes starred as the second-in-command of the Enterprise D throughout the Next Generation and was Captain Picard's number one. However, before making a career on screen, Frakes performed as an official travelling Captain America. He would don the suit and take up the shield at official events, such as store openings and conventions, and once he even played the American superhero standing in front of the White House. And there's a photo, and there's the White House behind. There he is. Has he got a beard? Has he got the Frakes beard going there? Anyway. Frakes secured the job on the recommendation of a friend, and speaking at GalaxyCon, he recounted what his typical workday was like. We'd go out on a Friday, much like a convention, and we'd go to Omaha or we'd go to Chicago, and we'd have a schedule, and somebody would pick us up at the airport with a rented Taurus, and we'd have a schedule. We'd go to a 7-Eleven, then we'd do a comic book store, then we'd go to a supermarket. Every 20 minutes we'd have to be somewhere. And we'd have these spacesuits on, and we'd pull up a block away. I'd get the hood on. I'd get on the hood of the car first of all. I'd take the garbage can lid that had a big A on it out of the thing. I'd grip her on the two wings. Had a big A on it. It should have a big star on it, surely. It's got a star on it. There, look. You're misremembering, Jonathan. Anyway, the garbage can lid that had the big A on it out of the thing. I'd grip her on the two wings that Captain America had on his cowl. I'd hold the garbage can lid. I'd stand on the hood of the car, ride into the parking lot of the 7-Eleven on the Ford Taurus. It was a very glamorous time, and we made $50 a day. It's easy to imagine a young, fresh-faced Frakes. Oh, said that 3 times fast. A young, fresh-faced Frakes. As the action movie icon, and with his leadership and courage to his Star Trek character Commander Riker, he even shares some traits. So if the MCU is looking for its next cameo, look no further. Frakes is currently starring in Star Trek Picard Season 3, and it's really, really good, reprising his role as Riker, Captain Riker now. For more on the Star Trek series, blah, 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 blah. So there you go. So Jonathan Frakes played Captain America, but not on screen. Just doing openings and stuff like that. So there you go. That's very interesting. Back before he became famous. It doesn't set the time, though, does it? So, what? Early 80s? It must be early 80s, mustn't it? Before TNG started in 87. So it's between 80 and 87 then, isn't it? I should imagine. I don't know when the Taurus was out as a vehicle. I don't know. Was it a Ford? I don't know. I have no idea. Right, moving on. George Lucas always saw Star Wars as as a series meant for kids. And there's young Leia. Oh, God, I hated that. They were horrible. Right, this is from Jenna Bush, so it's from a female perspective. So here we go. As someone who's been a Star Wars fan since I saw the first film as a little girl, I've been part of many debates about the original series. Years before the first prequel, The Phantom Menace, came out in 1999, I was arguing for and against characters with my friends, defending the Ewoks. I was just the right age, and trying to figure out why so many characters couldn't keep their arms attached to their bodies. The Ewoks were a big argument, though, which has often led to a debate on who exactly the films were made for. Everybody. Were the Star Wars films for children? And that's a link. I'd always thought so, at least for the first trilogy. That's why there's people getting, burned to death, enjoying burned corpses. Yeah, great for kids. It's for everybody. It's a family thing. Anyway. Often the argument, I don't know how it got away with it. In the UK, it had a U certificate. I have no idea how it got away with it. Often the argument was that the idea of a murderous father was too awful for kids. My defence was always that The Hobbit, assorted fairy tales with parents who leave their children in the woods to die, Hansel and Gretel, women who cut off their own toes to marry a prince, Cinderella in some versions that I read as a kid, and witches cursing baby princesses to die because they didn't get invited to a party. Sleeping Beauty were for children as well. Kids can handle more than we think they can. Yeah, but that's in literature, isn't it? George Lucas weighed in on the topic in a 2002 interview on Good Morning America via ABC News right before the release of Star Wars Episode 2 Attack of the Clones. He also spoke about not catering to fans with his storytelling. Right. In the interview, a voiceover mentions that Star Wars Episode 1 The Phantom Menace had disappointed some fans despite making close to $1 billion. The voiceover added, Lucas says he's heard this before. The Star Wars creator weighed in. I'll not do an impression because I can't. What happens is the older people that see the movie get very upset with this sort of younger, I won't say we're on the Barney level, but on the younger aspects of the movies, and they're in all the movies. And in Empire Strikes Back, the same thing happened to 3PO. They hated 3PO. They said that jabbering, if that robot talked anymore, it's so irritating. And then I did the next film, which had Ewoks in it, and these older fans and the older adults all went berserk. And then in Phantom Menace, it was about the character Jar Jar. Well, there's always a character that's less popular than the others, isn't there? But I don't know if anybody hated C-3PO. He was an annoying character, but people didn't hate him. I didn't, anyway. He were there for a reason. He had a reason to be there. As did the Ewoks and as did Jar Jar Binks, I suppose. But, whatever. I still didn't like Jar Jar Binks as a character. It was the way he was portrayed, I think, that were more annoying. Anyway, I remember hearing older kids saying that the movie sucked because the Ewoks were originally going to be Wookiees, and Ewoks were for babies. While I absolutely love Chewbacca, Peter Mayhew, with my entire heart, I was exactly the right age for cute and murdery teddy bears fighting against evil. Yes, remember, Ewoks will cut your head off, scoop out your thing and just cook you and eat you. They will. Because remember, they were going to cook and eat Han and Luke, weren't they? Anyway, I actually really liked C-3PO as well. Yes, so did I. I think the issue was less about whether this was made for children or not, and more that the series and the overarching story had such mass appeal that people of all ages loved it. Exactly, that's what it's all about. That is always going to lead to people wanting the next one to be for them specifically. It's always been so in fandom. See, that's the thing. When people say, "Oh, it's for kids," they think, "Oh, it's going to be a childish story," but it's that's not necessarily true. It's for everybody. It's a family movie, so it isn't aimed at kids. Like Barney, as it says there, Barney. That is aimed at children, isn't it? That series is aimed at children, and there are some movies that are aimed at children, like some animated films and stuff that are aimed at younger children. But some films are aimed at a broader audience where children and adults and everybody in between can enjoy, and Star Wars is one of those. Anyway, Jar Jar Binks, well, he was a disaster. That was never about an age group. My sincerest apologies to Ahmed Best. Truly. Exactly, yeah. That character was terrible. Just the way they created the character was terrible. In the interview, an earlier Lucas quote was brought up when he said, "I can't make a movie for fans." He responded, "Well, I can't. The audience wants all different things. I definitely am not a guy who markets my..." It's a rubbish interviewee, isn't it? It wasn't me. That's market testing on my movies and says, "Oh, this is what the audience wants, so I'm going to give it to them." In the end, it really has to do more with storytelling than anything else. Yeah, which is true. Which is why the Disney sequel trilogy was such a disaster, because they tried to appease the fans after the disaster of The Last Jedi. They tried to appease the fans by doing Rise of Skywalker, and that was a disaster as well. You should tell a story, and that's another reason why the sequel trilogy was a disaster. They didn't have a plan going in. They didn't have a story. What he said about the audience wanting different things has never been more apparent than it is in the age of social media. Look at the backlash any little change gets. Yeah, they should ignore social media. Think about DC fans getting angry about which cut of Zack Snyder's films are out there, or Marvel fans not liking a specific version of MODOK, or debates about the importance of having Grogu in The Mandalorian. In the end, if you have a story to tell it the way you want to. A little fan service can be fun, but ultimately a creator is telling their own story, and what an epic story it is, nitpicking aside. All the Star Wars films are currently blah 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 on Disney Plus. But yes, excellent article. I can't agree more. Nitpicking aside, fans are always going to nitpick. Don't listen to them. Don't even look at social media. Tell your story. If there's like a cultural zeitgeist that comes out that you can't avoid, like people not liking Jar Jar, then do something about it. If all you're hearing is that Jar Jar's disliked, do something about it. Make him likable, or like they did with Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith, essentially cut him out altogether, more or less. I mean, he was in Attack of the Clones a bit more, wasn't he? But he wasn't in as much as Phantom Menace. But George kind of doubled down on him, didn't he, in Attack of the Clones, and made Jar Jar the portal through which Palpatine gets all of his powers, doesn't he? Anyway, so that's that. So yes, it's not for kids. It's for everybody. And if anybody says Star Wars is a kids' film, about space wizards, just ignore them. It's not. It's for everybody. And there's lots of films and TV shows that are for a family audience that don't necessarily have to be all, rainbows and teddy bears and stuff like that. No, Care Bears and stuff like that. You can have, violence and dark themes in them, but not like gore. Although there is a certain amount of gore in Star Wars. The cantina scene in the first one, where the Ponda Baba, whatever he's called, gets his arm chopped off by Obi-Wan Kenobi with the lightsaber. There's all blood and that, isn't there? Don't know why there's blood. Shouldn't it be cauterised, the wound? But never mind. But there's also, it was supposed to get his head chopped off, because there's some behind-the-scenes photos of that showing Ponda Baba's arm and his head on the floor as well. So he was supposed to get his head chopped off as well. It's for kids. Right, moving on to the next one. We're staying with Star Wars. The Mandalorian report spoils live-action debut of Star Wars Rebels character. So if you don't want to be spoiled, look away now and plug your ears. Oh, go and make some breakfast or Sunday brunch like I want. Right, the Mandalorian... Can we see all that? Yes, we have. The Mandalorian has done an excellent job with bringing Star Wars to the small screen. By the way, I didn't check the previous one. I hope it were all in... Oh, yes, it was just. Oh, dear. Making sure all the text is visible. Anyway, The Mandalorian's done an excellent job with bringing Star Wars to the small screen and has even brought serval characters. Give me several. Into serval a cat. Several characters. Oh God! From the this is what social media and Twitter and stuff like that has brought to the literary world. From their animated series to live action, characters from the Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels have already appeared in the 2 previous seasons, and Bo-Katan Kryze, Katie Sackhoff, is a very integral part of The Mandalorian Season 3. And just the way she moves in all that Mandalorian armour. That's it, you can be under armour, still feminine. And she is very... Anyway, it seems that the people behind the scenes of the series want to continue the trend of bringing characters from their animated series to life. According to a new report from Making Star Wars, The Mandalorian Season 3 will feature Star Wars Rebels Fen Rao. Is that Fen Rao? I don't know. Don't ask me who that is. I can't remember. I watched Star Wars Rebels, but I can't remember all the characters. Fen Rao was voiced by Kevin McKidd, Grey's Anatomy. He was in Dog Soldiers, wasn't he, as well? That's Kevin McKidd, isn't it? Is it? I think it is, yeah. Anyway, in Rome, in the animated series, and the report claims that he will also portray the character in live action. Fandom describes the character as follows. Fen Rao is a minor character in the Disney XD animated series Star Wars Rebels. Is Disney XD still going? I always wonder that, because they're not on my TV thing now. The Disney channels have vanished. Are they still, are they still going? Disney Channel and Disney XD and all the others. I've no idea. He was a male Mandalorian who served as the protector of the planet Concord Dawn. Oh, that fella. During the reign of the Galactic Empire, Fen Rao eventually joined the Rebel Alliance after being inspired by the courage and loyalty of Sabine Wren, a fellow Mandalorian and member of House Vizsla. Right, okay. So what they're saying, what they're talking about, is this a different story? No, well, yeah, that's talking about something else there, aren't they? Still talking about Fen Rao. No, they've changed the subject totally. We'll carry on anyway, whatever. Andor is one of the most recent Star Wars series to hit Disney+. Plus. Diego Luna returns as one of the many most interesting characters in the Star Wars universe. I don't think so. Cassian Andor. Back in May, comicbook.com's Brandon Davis got the chance to speak with Andor. No, that's a different article, isn't it, altogether? It's a different article. Yeah. But then they go Mandalorian Season 3 streaming. How bizarre. Anyway, so Fen Rao's going to be in The Mandalorian in live action, played by Kevin McKidd. So I look forward to that, because I quite like Kevin McKidd. He was good in Dog Soldiers, if I remember him right, and it's the same person. I don't know. Right, next. Liam Neeson. Liam Neeson reveals why he turned down the role of James Bond before it went to Pierce Brosnan. Can't imagine Liam Neeson as James Bond, to be honest. I don't think he'd be able to shift he's got a bit of an Irish accent, hasn't he? And I don't think he'd be able to shift it. But then again, Sean Connery, he still had his Scottish brogue, slight Scottish brogue, didn't he? So I suppose anything's possible. And of course, Pierce Brosnan were Irish, so they stuck with an Irishman, didn't they? Anyway, while the search goes on for the next 007, Henry Cavill, just give it to Henry Cavill. Don't give him any choice either. Just pay him loads of money so he can't refuse, and we want Henry Cavill. Or Aaron Taylor-Johnson. Have you seen him in Bullet Train? Amazing. Anyway, Liam Neeson has revealed that the role of James Bond was once his for the taking, except his partner had other ideas. Following the success of... Oh, see, I've done that. Look, see. There we go. Following the success of Schindler's List, in which he played the title role... Good job I checked, didn't it, to make sure that you can see all the text. Following the success of Schindler's List, in which he played the title role... I think I've seen that film twice and bawled my eyes out both times. It's a harrowing experience, but an amazing film. Neeson's star was high in the early 1990s, and the James Bond people came calling. I think around the same time he did Michael Collins, didn't he? Neeson told not the astronaut Michael Collins, the Irish revolutionary Republican. Neeson told the Times of London that he had expressed his strong interest in the role until his then-girlfriend, actress Natasha Richardson, intervened, wary of what Neeson called the gorgeous girls in various countries getting in and out of Bond's bed. The actor revealed Richardson had told him she wouldn't marry him if he took the role, and so he turned it down, leaving the license to kill free for Pierce Brosnan to collect. Instead, Neeson and Richardson did get married in 1994, and had 2 sons before the actress's death following a skiing accident in 2009. Oh, that's very sad. Natasha Richardson. Is that her that were in... I think I'm going to have to look this up now. Is that her that were in Event Horizon? Is that Natasha Richardson? Am I thinking of somebody else? I'm going to have to look this up now. I didn't know she'd died. Natasha Richardson. Just bear with me. No, it's a different one. No, it's a different one. What am I laughing for? But yes, I know the face. She's one of the Redgraves, the daughter of actress Vanessa Redgrave. Oh, there we go. So who am I thinking of then? I'm thinking of Jolie Richardson. That's who I'm thinking of. I don't think they're related. Or maybe they are. I don't know. That's who I'm thinking of, Jolie Richardson. Anyway, Neeson's career has contained more than his fair share of high-octane action thrills. However, his current role as Philip Marlowe in the new take on the LA-based private detective is his 100th movie, and he revealed he continues to be sent action scripts despite now being 70. The Taken star told the Times, I've only seen the first one. I'm going to have to watch the others. I've heard they're good. Enjoyed the first one. The Taken star told the Times, I'll call up my agent and say, do they know what age I am? People say I do my own stunts. I do not. But look, the dollar amount is very pleasing, and I'm not getting any younger. Yeah, good for him. If he can do it, do it. Carry on. And he looks well for his age. And he still wants to do comedy. Watch Extras. Is it Extras? No, Life's Too Short with Warwick Davis. Watch that. With the Liam Neeson scene. He wants to do comedy. That's a funny scene. But then he did come and do comedy, and what were he in now in the comedy thing? And it was just like on his thing in Life Too Short. Anyway, so it could have been James Bond, but I think they did want Pierce Brosnan, though, didn't they? Pierce Brosnan was the first choice, but he couldn't do it in the late 80s because he were contracted to Remington Steele. And Remington Steele got cancelled, and so in the late 80s, and so Pierce Brosnan were going to be James Bond, and then the series got renewed, and contractually he had to do that, and they tried to find a way around it, but it didn't work, so that plump for Timothy Dalton instead. But then by the time 1995 came around, he was available again, and then we had a great James Bond in Pierce Brosnan. My second favourite James Bond, the first one is, and no, it's not Sean Connery, it's Roger Moore. I'm a Roger Moore Bond person. Sean Connery is my third, Timothy Dalton's fourth, Daniel Craig's fifth, in my opinion. Oh, and George Lazenby as well. Don't forget him. But they're all good. I love all the James Bond films, even the bad ones. Right, Stargate. Why Jonas's Stargate SG-1 role was so brief? Did he die? Jonas Quinn was drafted into Stargate SG-1 during Season 6 as a replacement for Daniel Jackson, but his stay on the show proved to be short-lived. And there he is. Corin Nemec as Jonas Quinn. That's Michael Shanks as Daniel Jackson. Right, I'll have to move this again, aren't I? There we go. Jonas Quinn was a big part of Stargate SG-1 for exactly one season. So why was his stint so brief? The 1994 sci-fi movie Stargate seemed primed to spawn sequels, but instead its spin-off SG-1 became one of the most popular sci-fi shows of the late 90s and early aughts. This switch worked for the best, considering the titular gateway opened up a wealth of storytelling possibilities for a series to explore. The show couldn't afford the VFX and scope of its big screen predecessor, although it did really well. But thanks to the chemistry of the main cast, Richard Dean Anderson, I mean, you look at the effects now of the original Stargate movie, it doesn't hold up well. Richard Dean Anderson, Amanda Tapping, Christopher Judge and Michael Shanks, it built a devoted following. But when SG-1 received spin-offs like Atlantis, or even when Stargate SG-1 received spin-offs like Atlantis or Universe, it was hard to beat the original team. And they kept bringing them in, in cameos. Like any long-running series, SG-1 saw some big casting shake-ups, including Anderson reducing the size of his role for the final 2 seasons, some would say the final 3. Pardon me. One of the most controversial exits was Shanks's Daniel Jackson following season 5. The actor was unhappy with the direction SG-1 was heading and felt his character was often sidelined. Thus Jackson died from a form of radiation sickness towards the end of season 5. It wasn't a form of radiation, he died of radiation sickness. Towards the end of season 5, leaving the way clear for newcomer Jonas Quinn, played by Corin Nemec. But then Daniel Jackson ascended. He left his physical form and ascended to be, one with the ancients, an ascended being. And though he did appear in season 6 in little roles, kept appearing to Jack O'Neill and stuff as an ascended being. Anyway, Shanks's departure led to an outcry from Stargate SG-1 fans who were not happy with Jonas as a replacement either. Although I really liked the character, he was good. I think he's been crapped on a bit, to be honest, as Corin Nemec. But never mind. The character himself hails from the planet Kelowna and was introduced towards the close of season 5. Jonas felt intense guilt for his part in Daniel Jackson's death, which is why he joins the team. In something of a meta touch, the other members of SG-1, aside from Carter, have trouble adjusting to Jonas as Daniel's replacement too. But Teal calls him Jonas Quinn, like he used to call Daniel Jackson. He used to call it Jonas Quinn all the time. Didn't just call him Jonas or Quinn, like he did with it was always Daniel Jackson or Jonas Quinn. But yet he calls Jack O'Neill just O'Neill. Anyway, and he always referred to Carter as with a rank, either like captain or major or colonel. Never just Carter or Samantha. Anyway, that's by the by. They were still mourning their friend, and despite quickly Jonas despite Jonas quickly proving himself a valuable member of the group, the dynamic just wasn't the same. I thought it was good. I like Jonas Quinn. I like season 6. Anyway, regardless, Stargate SG-1 viewers quickly came to like the character's wholesomeness. Yeah, it was good. However, the producers of SG-1 later reached an agreement with Shanks to return to the cast full-time for season 7, which means the work wasn't coming in for Michael Shanks. I think he did a couple of episodes of 24. That's all I can remember seeing him in. Anyway, with Daniel back as a functioning member of the team, the show gradually pushed Jonas to one side, with Nemec becoming a recurring guest star instead. I think he appeared a couple of times after that. He later exited Stargate SG-1 following Shanks's, who played 2 SG-1 roles, return with season 7's fallout after Quinn returned to Kelowna to become a negotiator for his people. Despite being mentioned several times in later seasons, Jonas never reappeared. The fate of Jonas post-Stargate SG-1 is open for debate, as it was later revealed that the Ori conquered his planet. While the Ori were eventually defeated in the DVD movie The Ark of Truth, really good, watch it. I did a video about it not long ago. What became of Jonas is unknown. Series producer Joseph Malozzi once responded to a fan query posing that very question with, "In my mind, Jonas led the resistance against the Ori on his home world, which was eventually freed from their influence after the events of the Ark of Truth. He is still very much alive and a leader among his people. Short of Jonas returning in a revival, this is likely the canonical answer." And yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. So there we go. So yes, but the character was crapped on a bit, by the SG-1 writers. Popped up a couple of times, but it could have been better. Right, one last article. I think this is a list. Sci-fi shows that were cancelled for the strangest reasons. I've not looked at this, so it could be anything. We've got a Angel. I don't know who they are. I don't know who that is. But that's what's the face from Angel, isn't it? Who Fred became. I can't remember the name of the character, but she made a gorgeous baddie. Who became a goodie. Right, I've got to move this again now, haven't I? There we go. Right, science fiction TV shows have a shorter shelf life than cryptocurrencies and social media influencers. What gives? It's not that complicated. Big budgets plus low ratings equals cancellation. Yeah. I mean, look at Night Sky on Amazon. Brilliant series. I absolutely adored it. It was ace. Sissy Spacek and J.K. Simmons teaching the younger cast how to act. Cancelled after one season on Amazon. Hey, those space-age sets and costumes, alien makeup and CGI aren't cheap. Meanwhile, passionate fans may sign petitions by the thousands, but ratings are what matters, and those fan bases are too small to impress execs trying to court advertisers. Given the economics of television, it's not shocking TV studios routinely dump pricey sci-fi shows in favour of the newest big city cop show procedural. To be honest, it's surprising sci-fi shows get made at all. Yep, it sucks, but that's show business. While it's easy to explain why most sci-fi TV shows get cancelled, the reasons for some cancellations are downright baffling. These include sci-fi shows that were dropped despite decent ratings, canned with fully completed seasons, or even dumped after inspiring hunger strikes. Yeah, it's wild. Whether you love these sci-fi shows or can't stand them, you have to admit they were cancelled for the strangest reasons. Right, off we go. The Adventures of Superboy. I've never heard of this one. Look up in the sky. It's a bird, it's a plane, it's a cancellation notice. It's very humorous, this article, isn't it? 13 years before Smallville, there was another show about Superman's early years. Superboy, renamed The Adventures of Superboy during the 3rd season. Oh, so it got a few seasons. Ran for 4 seasons and 100 episodes, which means it can go into syndication. In syndication. From 1988 to 1992, while Smallville was DC with a dash of Dawson's Creek, which is still DC, Superboy showcased Clark Kent as a young adult, getting started in Metropolis, which looked remarkably like Orlando. John Hames Newton played the Big Blue Boy Scout in season 1, but Gerard Christopher donned the red and blue starting in season 2. It might have been because Newton potentially violated his contract's morality clause by getting arrested for public drunkenness. Didn't they see Superman 3? Ratings were strong during Christopher's run, but Warner Brothers pulled the plug, and not because Lex Luthor took over as studio chief. In an interview on Superman homepage, longtime Supes producer Ilya Solkind claimed Warner Brothers cancelled Superboy, as well as a proposed Superman 5, to focus on Lois and Clark, the new adventures of Superman, as opposed to syndication. Lois and Clark was set to fly much higher with a primetime slot on ABC. This resulted in Truth, Justice and the American Way lawsuits. Warner Brothers filed a lien on the series, Solkin sued, and Superboy was benched, leaving the airwaves and not arriving on any home media save bootleg copies until 2006. So Superboy was defeated by Superman. Bizarro, right? Yeah, never heard of it. Firefly, here we go. This is the famous one. This is the big one, isn't it? Firefly is the poster child for cult shows cancelled because the studio suits never got it. While there's nothing strange about that, the way Fox executives handled Firefly was downright baffling. Despite coming from Buffy the Vampire Slayer creator Joss Whedon, Fox refused to pick up the show unless Zoe, Gina Torres and Wash Alan Tudyk weren't married. It turns out that execs wanted to ship Zoe with Nathan Fillion's Malcolm Mal Reynolds, but Whedon stuck to his guns. Fox picked up the show despite Zoe and Wash staying married, but the studio's chronic nitpicking was just getting started. Unfortunately, Fox was so busy telling Whedon how to do his job, they didn't focus on doing theirs. In the process, two very important details were overlooked: marketing and distribution. Firefly was aired out of order after Fox demanded a reshoot of the pilot episode, leading to general audience confusion. Go figure. More critically, Firefly was marketed as a wild and wacky sci-fi comedy, not a space western. There was humour in Firefly, but that's like promoting The Dark Knight as a witty comedy about an urbane playboy and his butler. Not surprisingly, Firefly lasted only 1 season and 14 episodes, that's like half a season back in the day, before Fox called it quits. Surprisingly, Firefly got a cinematic sequel in 2005, Serenity, though it bombed big time, making just $40 million worldwide on a $39 million budget. And it were really good. While it's unlikely Firefly was destined to be a huge hit, Fox's bungling was just plain bizarre. I think the fact that the Serenity bombed, it might be because Firefly didn't have a mass appeal. It had a cult appeal, to nerds and stuff like that, the people like me. But like to the mass audience, it probably just didn't have that. A sci-fi western. Who wants to watch that? Star Trek. Anyway, The Secret World of Alex Mack. I've heard of this, never seen it. If you're snick years old, you remembered such classic as Are You Afraid of the Dark, Clarissa Explains It All that, and The Secret World of Alex Mack. Alex Mack was about a teen girl who gained superpowers after being exposed to chemicals. To play this superpowered youth, Nickelodeon auditioned 600 hopefuls before settling on Larissa Oleynik. Oleynik carried the series like one of her character's signature hats for 4 seasons and 78 episodes from 1994 to 98. After working so hard for so long, the teenage star was burned out and wanted to call it quits. According to a retrospective in HuffPost, series co-creator Thomas W. Lynch took Oleynik and her mum and her manager to a fancy Hollywood restaurant where he pulled out all the stops to get her to return. That with a swig. His offer included a feature film and a lot of money, but Oleynik still said no. Oleynik said she wanted, I'm probably mispronouncing that, said she still wanted to finish high school, go to college and keep it innocent after Alex Mack got a boyfriend in the 4th season. Nickelodeon realised they couldn't recast or replace Alex Mack. Why? So they pulled the plug. You can always recast. Doesn't matter who it is. No star is bigger than the show. That should be the creed. Anyway, so they pulled the plug, ending the show with a cliffhanger. We're not sure which is stranger, a young star turning down fame and fortune to live a normal life, or a major TV network cancelling a show while it was still super popular. Yeah, they should have just recast it. Clone High. This looks like a Cartoon Network one, doesn't it? It looks like it's from... the style is very Powerpuff Girls, isn't it? Anyway, let's carry on. Long before Phil Lord and Christopher Miller were winning Oscars and getting fired, the dynamic duo created the cult classic Clone High. The premise, the clones of historical figures reimagined as teens. The all-star lineup included JFK, Abe Lincoln, Cleopatra, St. Joan of Arc, and Gandhi, aka G-Man. G-Man was a fast-talking, junk food-eating, horny sidekick who had more in common with Steve Stifler than the anti-colonial Indian nationalist. Is Steve Stifler in from American Pie? I don't know. I'm just guessing that because of Stifler's mom. I don't know. I'm presuming that's him there. Granted, none of the characters were respectful. Lincoln was a lonely, lovesick loser, Cleopatra was an attention-seeking hot girl, and JFK was a skirt-chasing cool dude. Okay, that may have been accurate. Alas, it was G-Man who got Clone High expelled from TV, according to Lord and Miller. Despite Clone High never airing in India, protesters heard about the show on the internet. A large gathering, including 150 politicians and Gandhi's grandson, held a hunger strike in front of MTV's India offices, trapping Tom Freston, the then CEO of MTV's parent company Viacom, inside the building. They basically threatened that they'd revoke MTV's broadcasting licence in India if they didn't take the show off the air, said Miller. Lord and Miller pitched a few concepts for a second season without G-Man being Gandhi, including one where he was revealed to be a Gary Coleman's clone. But Viacom was over the whole odd ordeal. Fans may get a happy ending, as Miller tweeted that Clone High will return on HBO Max. Oh, there we go. Escape from Jurassic Park. I've never heard of this one either. Which reminds me, I haven't watched the Camp Cretaceous on Netflix. I watched season 1, and it ended up being quite good. It started off a bit iffy, but it ended up being quite good, and I forgot to watch the rest of it. And it's on like third season now or something, isn't it? Anyway, a Jurassic Park animated series in the 90s would have ranked in the top 5 of the coolest things ever. It's almost happened, according to longtime dinosaur artist William Stout. Has this been cancelled before it started? Stout was set to work on Escape from Jurassic Park, which he says would have been heavily inspired by European and German comic book series. While watching Escape from Jurassic Park on Saturday mornings and consuming our third bowl of sugary cereal sounds like the best, Stout says the series was actually destined for prime time. It was not going to be a kiddie show, explains Stout. The producers got as far as shooting a trailer, but they still needed the blessing of one man. You might have heard of him, Steven Spielberg. Unfortunately, something unexpected and frankly baffling happened. Spielberg said no. The Oscar-winning blockbuster hitmaker backed out because he was over Jurassic Park merchandising and marketing. According to Stout, Spielberg just said, "Nah, I don't even want to do it." I mean, he could have just given permission and then just got like an executive producer credit, not do anything and watch the money rolling. Anyway, no Spielberg, no show. We're glad the internet wasn't really around back then because we would have been crushed. While we can see where Spielberg is coming from, the fact that a surefire smash hit Jurassic Park cartoon went extinct because he didn't want to deal with marketing is super strange. But then they did Camp Cretaceous. Decades later, right, Snowpiercer. Oh, is that what it's from? Not seen this either. I watched the film. I thought, whatever. So the series never really appealed to me. Anyway, original sci-fi is just as risky on film as it is on TV, so it wasn't surprising that 2013 Snowpiercer, which only made $86 million worldwide on a $40 million budget, didn't get a cinematic sequel. What was surprising is that it got a TV show instead. Snowpiercer debuted as the #1 new scripted drama on all ad-supported cable in 2020. To translate that sentence from media speak to real talk, Snowpiercer was good for cable network TNT until it wasn't. Despite their much ballyhooed We Know drama brand, Snowpiercer was TNT's last remaining scripted drama when it was cancelled in 2022. In early 2023, it was announced that Snowpiercer wasn't just cancelled, it was buried. Oh, pardon me. I'm burping and I can't blame having something to eat, so this is my stomach saying, eat something. According to Deadline, the fourth season of Snowpiercer was not going to be aired on TNT or anywhere. Instead, it was shelved as a tax write-off for parent company Warner Brothers Discovery, like they did with Batgirl. Yeah, Batgirl. While production company Tomorrow Studios was hoping to find a home for the fourth season, as well as potential prequels and sequels, it appears the end is here for the post-apocalyptic drama. Snowpiercer started as a film, became a TV show, and died as a tax write-off. It started as a book, didn't it? While this once unprecedented practice has become common today in the history of TV, it's pretty strange. I didn't see it. Didn't see it. The film didn't impress me, to be honest. It was okay, but it didn't blow my socks off, so I wasn't that bothered. Right, Invasion. I know this one because I actually like this. Sci-fi had a renaissance on primetime network TV following the monumental success of Lost. From Heroes to Flash Forward to Fringe, most of these shows got cancelled because of low ratings and high costs. However, it's still a mystery why Invasion got canned. Similar to Invasion of the Body Snatchers, the series was about a small Florida town whose residents are replaced by mysterious creatures. Despite airing on ABC, the same network as Lost, Invasion only ran for one 22-episode season from 2005 to 2006 before the network cancelled it, and it were good. I think at the same time there was a series called Surface, and that only lasted one season. I think they're probably just over-ambitious, weren't they, and they cost too much. And didn't get enough views. Anyway, the reason, in a 2014 interview with AV Club, Invasion actor Tyler Labine laments, I still to this day don't know why that show got cancelled. We had great numbers. We had a good show, good critical acclaim. I don't know. But in 2011, Labine told Bullseye, the funny thing is, Invasion did get lots of love. Critics loved it. There was quite a huge following by the time we got cancelled. It was just the network didn't love it, that's all. And in 2019, Labine told Starry Mag, Invasion was a big hit that got cancelled for some reason that nobody understands. Purely politics. The ratings were through the roof. Good ratings, strong reviews and fan support. What happened? Going by what Labine says, it seems that Invasion got axed simply because it wasn't Lost. But now it is Lost, because it's not on. But it were good. It were good at Invasion, and so was Surface. And there's a few others in there that were knocking about around about that time, like Threshold and series like that. I bet they're not going to do Space Above and Beyond in this list. Anyway, Angel. Buffy the Vampire Slayer was a big hit for the WB, so the network commissioned series creator Joss Whedon to produce the spin-off Angel. In the show, Buffy, villain Angel, goes to the City of Angels seeking redemption. Going to Los Angeles for redemption doesn't make sense to us either, but it's because so they could use the City of Angels thing, isn't it? But that's not even the strangest part. Angel ran for 5 seasons and 110 episodes and probably could have gone longer had Whedon not overplayed his hand. Despite the show's high ratings, critical acclaim and fan support, it was really good. The WB was a non-committal boyfriend. Every year the studio delayed picking up Angel until the last minute, just in case another potential hit was out there. Consequently, the cast and crew would turn down jobs, crossing their fingers that Angel would continue, while the creative team was under the gun to produce a new season at the 11th hour. According to Angel writer David Fury, Whedon asked the WB CEO, Jordan Levin, for an early pick-up. Jordan, sort of with his hands tied, with his back up against the wall, called him the next day and said, OK, we're cancelling you. Fury says, there was a power play. We forced them to make a decision, and with his hand forced, he made the decision to cancel us. That bites for fans, and even more for the WB, who Fury says regretted the decision. Oddly enough, pressuring your boss for more flexibility is a bad idea, even if you're Joss Whedon. But it still ended on a good note. It was kind of a cliffhanger, but it was like a good cliffhanger that you could end the season on, end the series on, you know, where you know that they're still out there fighting the good fight. Yeah, it was good. It was good, but Angel. The Twilight Zone. There he is. Imagine a world, or a road, or whatever. Right, the Twilight Zone. I would always an outer limits person myself, but never mind. The Twilight Zone is one of the most iconic television shows of all time, science fiction or otherwise. For 5 seasons, this trailblazing anthology series tackled contemporary issues and timeless subjects through its unique blend of sci-fi, horror, black comedy, and absurdism. The show could address challenges in our dimension because it was set in another one, the titular Twilight Zone. The series creator and showrunner Rod Serling probably wished he was in another dimension too. Today, Serling is considered one of the most brilliant TV writers ever, but one person he didn't impress at the time was his boss, CBS executive James T. Aubrey. When the Twilight Zone lost sponsors in its 4th season, Aubrey didn't bother to secure new ones, but cancelled the show and replaced it with the comedy Fair Exchange. After Fair Exchange fizzled, Aubrey quickly ordered the 5th season of the Twilight Zone. By this point, Serling was suffering from burnout, while the show suffered from so-so ratings. After the 5th season, Aubrey cancelled the Twilight Zone once and for all. Cancelling a popular TV show, bringing it back, then dumping it again sounds like a plot straight out of the Twilight Zone. There we go. Oh, that's it. There we go. Oh, they didn't mention Space Above and Beyond, did they? That got cancelled after 1 season, and that was amazing as well. Maybe it just wasn't a strange reason. It just didn't get ratings, did it? What else? What else is there that got cancelled after 1 season? Dark Skies. That was brilliant. I think that got cancelled because it was a bit too close to the truth. But anyway, there you go. As I said, there were series like Threshold and Surface. Can't think of any others off the top of my head. Right, so that's it. We'll leave it there. We will leave it there. Get rid of that. So, thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your Sunday. I'm going to go and make something to eat. He's not stirring. I've not heard him moving about. I'm going to have to go make some. I'm starving. I can't starve to death just because I'm waiting for him. I'll do him something when he gets up. So, look after each other. Wherever you are in the universe, I forgot my own outro. Wherever you are in the universe, look after each other. And until next time, I'll see thee.